Hi internet friends! Today we are talking all things fall-time fashion accessories. Last week we covered everything that was trending in the fashion zeitgeist, but one thing I forgot to cover was accessories. So that's what we're talking about today. We're talking shoes, handbags, jewelry, you name it, we're covering it. So without further ado, let's dive in. First up, as far as shoes go, I think my personal favorite trend that I am seeing everywhere is the over-the-knee boots. This really stood out to me with the Chloe campaign, and I know, I keep talking about the Chloe campaign, and I'm just not gonna stop until probably next season. Over the knee, almost like a little bit of scrunch to them. I saw a lot with suede leather boots and also just like the shinier patent leather boots, which in the last video I talked about the wet leather look. So I think that is kind of a continuation of this trend. With the Chloe campaign, you saw some of those pieces being tucked into the boots, which I thought was a very interesting take on that style. But this also leads into the riding boot trend, which is another thing that I'm seeing on the trends list. Riding boots I think always come back around this time of year. I personally made one of my first investments last year into a taller riding boot, and I have absolutely no regrets. I actually have been really excited knowing that I'm like slowly creeping into that time of year where I can take those boots back out and put them into good use. So yeah, good pair of riding boots goes a long way, and I think it's an excellent fall-time wardrobe addition. Next up are platform shoes. I'm seeing this everywhere also, which is a little surprising to me, but I think when you break down how you can style platform shoes, that's where this trend really gets interesting. We saw it last summer with the Gucci very tall, highly elevated platform shoes. For me, I think about that style with like 1970s flare denim jeans. I think it is such a complimentary look, and it's not so over the top that you look at it and you feel like it's a little bit too much of a shoe. I just think it can be a really interesting look, and platform shoes in general I think are trending right now. Depending on the style that you're going for, I think they can be a very fun shoe accessory. So I'm excited to see platform shoes kind of inch their way back in. No pun intended. Next up are utility style boots. I think it's leaning a lot more towards the Moto edgier style. I think this is one of those trends, like the more worn in and distressed rugged feel, the better. I think maybe going the thrifted route for this could be a lot of fun because you could get something that's like super worn in. Fry Company has a lot of really good worn in distressed Moto style boots that I think would be a good investment right now with the way this seems to be trending. I definitely saw this on the trends list last year, so this is something that's coming back around again, which is always good to see. But yeah, I think distressed Moto boots are huge right now. I also am still seeing kitten heels and clogs continue on, which this was a summertime trend that I'm seeing creep into fall time. Kitten heels don't seem like they're going anywhere right now, which I'm very excited to see that. Although I will be interested to see a little bit more in-depth styling on this when we push further into the fall time season and more into winter, because obviously you want something that covers the back of your ankle. I think this will be something that kind of dies down a little bit the more time goes on, so keep those kitten heels out. And the very last trend for shoes are fuzzy shoes. I'm seeing this one everywhere as well. I will say though, err on the side of caution. I like this shoe trend. I think Jenny Kane has a really good mule style, or like the Boston Birkenstocks. Those are a great addition into any wardrobe, and I really like the kind of curly hair version of those. But I will say, as someone who is a big time thrifter, I always like to make mental notes of what I see the most in the thrift stores. And I will say fuzzy shoes are something that I see quite often, and they're never in good shape. They're never something, you can always tell that they were something that the person got rid of just because they saw a lot more wear than their normal shoes. So I would say just keep that in mind. Moving on to handbags. The most interesting handbag trend that I see are like cuff style or wristlet style handbags. It's definitely the biggest trend that I'm seeing at the moment. The big thing is either like holding it like a cuff or it literally cuffs on, and that's the only way that you're wearing it. You're seeing this a lot in designer bags, so it'll be interesting more and more as the season goes on what we see picking up. Next up are croc embossed bags. I'm seeing this a lot in the burgundy tone, so that seems to be the big thing. And I covered the color tones in my last video being like a dark green and a burgundy red. And I think both of these tones would make really good handbag investments. I'm also seeing a lot of oversized shoulder bags, but they have to have some kind of a structure to them. They seem to be those like square oversized bags, and then also longer clutches. So like a rectangle shaped clutch. Personally, if I was gonna go the rectangle shaped clutch route, I would like to marry that with the wristlet trend, because that just seems like an easier way to carry it. Like if you know you can latch onto it, otherwise you're just trying to like balance it on your underarm. I think a happy marriage between the two would be a fantastic combination. Okay, let's dive into the accessories. This is the one that I have the most fun with. Fall time accessories are just, they're the best. They are the absolute best. And starting off with the one trend that I never give up on. This legit has been something that I've worn since like the start of my hipster phase. Like I will never let this trend go. But that is the paperboy or newsboy cap. I love, love, love this trend. I have had so many different styles of this, but my absolute favorite one is my vintage fisherman cap. I find these at the thrift store all the time. So definitely if you are looking for a good quality one, that's something that I would always recommend going the vintage route because it's 100% wool. I also saw a lot of like 1920s style floppy hats. You saw this most notably in the Chanel runway. I think this is one of those trends that translates on the runway so well. I don't know how often we're gonna see this out and about. I do think it's a beautiful piece though. And as someone who loves 20s/1930s fashion, I really enjoyed seeing this on the runway. Again though, I don't know if it's something that I necessarily would incorporate into my own personal wardrobe. Of course, never say never. Another big accessory trend I'm seeing is wide belts, which I really enjoy this trend because this is a really easy way to infuse a figure back into any style. I think with fall time fashion, especially when you're layering or throwing on an oversized coat, it's so easy that you oftentimes will lose your figure in your outfit. I think getting an oversized belt is always a good idea. You can do this over an oversized sweatshirt, a long dress, think like a jersey knit dress, or even a trench coat. Any of those pieces, long line duster jacket, you name it, throwing on a good oversized belt can complement an outfit so much. I'm also seeing this trend though worn lower on the belt, and I think this goes back to me talking about my last video, mod 60s twee fashion coming back around. This was something that was so big in the 60s, so I'm really excited to kind of see this style happen again. I think this next one is going to be a really controversial trend, but I'm excited to see it on the list, and here's why. Gloves. We're not talking like riding gloves or like short driving gloves. We're talking long, like satin 50s style gloves. This was all over the place. So many different iterations of it on the runway. I think it brings a touch of class to any outfit, but I will say, this is a very nerve-wracking trend to incorporate because it's not something that we're used to seeing. So if you see an outfit or if you see someone wearing this trend, it's probably gonna garner a lot of attention. I think that's where a lot of people tend to shy away from certain trends, is because they don't wanna garner that attention. The other day though, I watched a fantastic TED Talk by Molly Kay talking about curing loneliness through fashion. It is such a beautiful TED Talk. I highly recommend watching it if you are a lover of fashion. I'm gonna leave it linked down below. But she covers the idea of dressing up, dressing to the nines, and how much it can lead to conversations, positive conversations around fashion, and creating a friendship and like-mindedness around these pieces that you're choosing to wear. And she wears gloves a lot in her outfits. She definitely has like a very 1950s, 1940s aesthetic to her when she dresses up. She also dresses very normal as well. And I say normal, like more in quotations, because what is normal? To see gloves on the trend list though, my mind instantly went to that video and just how important and fun it can be to enjoy fashion and be daring and bold in your choices sometimes. The two jewelry trends that I'm seeing the most on the trends list are very long pendant necklaces. So we're not talking like chest level, we're talking like all the way down, kind of almost like 1970s pendant style necklaces. I think this looks fantastic with like a black turtleneck and just a really long gold chain. This was probably one of the first times that I've seen very long necklaces on the trends list in a very long time, honestly. I think it's been like those shorter style necklaces, like the almost like 3 separate necklaces worn together. We were seeing that so much for the last probably 5 years. So I think it's a lot of fun to see something a little different. Like I feel like this is shaking up the jewelry trend that we've gotten so comfortable in. And as far as earrings go, I'm seeing a lot of statement pieces, like very like 1980s, big, bold jewelry pieces. I've talked about this in the past, but I don't have my ears pierced. So for me, clip-on earrings are a lot of fun. And I think finding vintage clip-on earrings that are like those bold, almost like gaudy looking earrings, I love that, especially from the 1980s. I think that is so much fun, and that's definitely something that I see trending right now. That is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this quick little breakdown of all things accessories that are trending right now. There are so many other pieces that I could cover, but I think these were my personal favorites. Let me know down below your thoughts on some of these, especially the gloves. I would absolutely love to hear your thoughts on that. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new around here, I might have a couple extra videos for you right here and right here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.